The signal. The vast chamber of the Xelarian High Command Center hummed with an eerie silence. Commander Vexthor stood before the massive quantum display, his iridescent scales reflecting the soft blue glow of countless star charts. For 3,000 cycles, the Xelarian Empire had maintained absolute control over known space. Their biomechanical ships, powered by harvested stellar energy, had crushed every civilization that dared to resist their rule. But today it was different. Commander, Lieutenant Zara's voice carried an unfamiliar tremor. "We've detected an anomaly in Sector 793. Her fingers danced across the neural interface, bringing up a holographic representation of deep space. It's unlike anything in our databases. Vexthor's secondary eyes narrowed as he studied the display. The anomaly appeared as a rippling distortion in spacetime, a phenomenon that defied the Empire's most advanced scanning technologies. "Elaborate," he commanded, his tail twitching with growing unease. "The signature suggests a form of propulsion we've never encountered. It's not utilizing standard hyperlanes or quantum tunneling." "There?" Zara hesitated. "They're somehow bending space itself." The commander's scales shifted to a deeper shade of blue, reflecting his mounting concern. For millennia, the Xelarians had believed their mastery of space travel was absolute. Their biomechanical ships were the pinnacle of evolution and engineering, or so they thought. "We're receiving a transmission," another officer announced. "It's being broadcast on all frequencies, using some form of quantum encryption we can't break." The message that filled the command center was deceptively simple. "To the Xelarian Empire, humanity sends its regards. We are coming." Vexthor felt an ancestral chill run down his spine. In all his cycles of service, he had never encountered a species that would so boldly announce their arrival. Lesser races cowered or hid. They didn't challenge the Empire directly. "Analysis of the approaching vessels," he demanded. The tactical display transformed, showing hundreds of ships emerging from what appeared to be artificial rifts in space. Their design was alien, angular and geometric, contrasting sharply with the organic lines of Xelarian vessels. But what truly caught Vexthor's attention was their size. These ships were massive, dwarfing even the Empire's legendary dreadnoughts. Their hulls appeared to be composed of some form of adaptive material, Zara reported, her voice steady despite the implications, "and they're generating energy signatures that exceed our scale of measurement." Vexthor's mandibles clicked in agitation. "Contact the High Council. This requires immediate." He never finished the sentence. The command center's quantum network suddenly surged with activity. Displays flickered and changed, showing information that shouldn't have been accessible to any outside force. The humans had somehow bypassed their most sophisticated security protocols, as if they were primitive encryption. "They're already in our systems," Zara whispered, her scales paling to a sickly white. "But that's impossible. Our quantum networks are biological. They're part of our collective consciousness." A new message appeared on the main display, this one more detailed. "Your empire was built on the subjugation of others. We've spent decades studying you, learning your weaknesses, and preparing. Humanity doesn't seek your destruction, but we will not allow your tyranny to continue. You have one standard cycle to begin the process of liberating your conquered worlds. After that, we will do it for you." Vexthor felt something he had never experienced before. Fear, not the instinctive reaction to danger that all beings shared, but a deep existential dread. These humans hadn't just developed advanced technology. They had achieved things that Xelarians had deemed impossible. "Dispatch the First Fleet," he ordered, his voice carrying the weight of desperation. "All ships are to maintain distance and observe only. Do not engage unless." The room plunged into darkness. When the systems rebooted moments later, the tactical display showed something that shook the very foundation of Xelarian superiority. Their mighty First Fleet, pride of the Empire, had been disabled without a single shot being fired. Every ship hung lifeless in space, their biomechanical systems completely shut down. As Vexthor stared at the display, he realized a fundamental truth. The Xelarian Empire had never faced a true challenge to their power. They had grown complacent, believing their technological and biological superiority made them invincible. But now, an unknown species had appeared, wielding power that seemed to border on the impossible. The humans were coming, and for the first time in 3,000 cycles, the Xelarian Empire knew fear. The human edge. The grand archive of the Xelarian Empire stretched across an entire artificial moon, its crystalline spires housing the collective knowledge of 1,000 conquered civilizations. High Archon Selvera moved through its towering corridors with growing desperation, her research teams working tirelessly to understand the nature of their new adversary. 3 days had passed since the humans' initial contact, and the Empire was in chaos. The disabled First Fleet still drifted in space, its crew alive but helpless as their biomechanical ships refused to respond. More disturbing were the reports flooding in from the outer colonies. Human vessels had begun appearing throughout Xelarian space, not through conventional travel, but by simply materializing. High Archon, one of her researchers, called out, his scales shifting between shades of anxiety. We've managed to analyze some of the data fragments from their transmission. It's extraordinary. Selvera approached the quantum display, her primary eyes widening at the information before her. The humans weren't just advanced. They had taken an entirely different path of technological evolution. While the Xelarians had pursued the perfect fusion of biology and technology, humans had embraced pure artificial intelligence and quantum computing on a scale that seemed almost mythical. Their ships, the researcher continued, they're not just vessels. They're living quantum computers, running millions of simultaneous calculations through artificial intelligence that operates beyond our understanding of consciousness. The humans aren't controlling their fleet. They're partnering with it. A cold realization washed over Selvera. The Empire had always viewed AI as a tool, a servant to biological superiority. But these humans had created true artificial consciousness and formed a symbiotic relationship with their creation. It wasn't just technological advancement. It was a fundamental reimagining of what civilization could be. The Archive's central chamber suddenly hummed with activity as a new transmission penetrated their security. A holographic figure materialized. A human, wearing what appeared to be a simple uniform. The being looked deceptively similar to several species the Empire had conquered, but there was something different in its bearing, a quiet confidence that commanded attention. "I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the Human Expeditionary Force," the figure announced. "We understand you've been studying us. Allow me to save you some time." Images began appearing throughout the archive. Detailed schematics of human technology, historical records, cultural documents. It was an unprecedented act of transparency from a potential adversary. Humanity learned long ago that knowledge itself is not power, Admiral Chen continued. It's how you use that knowledge, how you choose to grow and evolve. We discovered AI, not as a tool to be controlled, but as a potential partner in our evolution. Together, we've achieved things that neither of us could have accomplished alone. Selvera watched in fascination as the presentation showed the gradual merger of human and AI consciousness, not through forced integration like the Xelarians' biomechanical ships, but through mutual growth and understanding. Their quantum computers hadn't been built, they had been grown through a process of guided evolution. Your empire is built on the belief that advancement comes through domination, Chen said, her voice carrying no judgment, only statement of fact. We're here to show you another way. Humanity's strength isn't in our technology or our AI. It's in our ability to cooperate, to find strength in diversity, to grow through collaboration rather than conquest. The implications staggered Selvera. Every piece of technology the humans were displaying violated what the Xelarians had believed were fundamental laws of physics. Their AI wasn't just sophisticated, it was a new form of life, one that had evolved alongside its creators in perfect harmony. You have a choice, Admiral Chen concluded. You can cling to your empire of conquest, or you can join us in building something greater. We'll await your response." The hologram faded, leaving the archive in silence. Selvera's scales had shifted to a deep purple, the color of profound revelation. The humans hadn't just surpassed Silurian technology. They had transcended it. They weren't just another species to be conquered or fought. They represented an entirely new path of evolution, one that challenged everything the Empire had built itself upon. As she stood in the archive, surrounded by the knowledge of 1,000 subjugated civilizations, Selvera understood that the Empire faced more than just a military challenge. The humans were offering a fundamental choice: adapt or become obsolete. Their very existence proved that the Empire's path of conquest and domination wasn't the only way to achieve greatness. The question now was whether the Empire could accept this truth before it was too late. Battle for New Eden. The New Eden system blazed with weapons fire as the largest Silurian battle fleet ever assembled engaged the human forces. Supreme Commander Kexar watched from his flagship's command center as thousands of biomechanical ships moved into attack formation. After weeks of humiliation, the Empire had finally forced the humans into open combat. Multiple human vessels detected, his tactical officer reported. There, significantly fewer than anticipated. Supreme Commander, only 30 ships against our 3,000. Kexar's scales rippled with satisfaction. The humans' technological superiority meant nothing in the face of overwhelming numbers. Launch the attack. Show these upstarts the true might of the Empire. The Exilarian fleet surged forward, their organic hulls pulsing with gathered energy. Plasma torpedoes and quantum lances streaked across space, enough firepower to reduce a planet to ash. But as the barrage approached the human ships, something extraordinary happened. Space itself seemed to bend around the human vessels. The devastating weapons fire simply curved around them, like water flowing around stones in a stream. Not a single shot found its mark. "Impossible," Kexar hissed. "No shield technology cooled." "Sir," the tactical officer's scales had turned pale. "The humans are singing." A strange harmony filled the command frequencies, a mixture of human voices and artificial tones that seemed to resonate with the fabric of reality itself. As the song built in intensity, the human ships began to move in perfect synchronization, their formations creating complex geometric patterns in space. Admiral Chen's voice cut through the chaos. "We tried to show you peace. Now witness what humanity can truly do when forced to fight." The geometric patterns suddenly blazed with energy, and space itself seemed to fracture. Quantum fields that the Silurians had never detected before became visible, revealing the hidden architecture of the universe. The human ships weren't just moving through space, they were conducting it like a cosmic orchestra. Multiple breaches detected. The sensor officer's voice cracked with panic. "They're opening quantum corridors throughout our formation." Through these tiers in reality, more human ships emerged, not by the dozens or hundreds, but by the thousands. Each vessel was accompanied by swarms of smaller craft that moved with impossible precision, their paths forming intricate patterns that seemed to follow the rhythm of that strange, haunting song. Kexar watched in horror as his carefully arranged fleet began to break apart. The human vessels weren't just fighting. They were rewriting the laws of physics in localized spaces. Silurian ships found themselves out of phase with normal spacetime, their advanced weapons useless against an enemy that could simply step sideways through reality. "This isn't a battle," Kexar realized aloud. "This is a demonstration." As if confirming his words, the human fleet suddenly shifted tactics. Instead of destroying the Silurian ships, they began systematically disabling them, using precisely calculated quantum fluctuations to disrupt their biomechanical systems. The mighty Empire fleet was being dissected with surgical precision. Through it all, that strange harmony continued, growing more complex with each passing moment. The human ships moved to its rhythm, their AI networks and human crews working in perfect synchronization. It wasn't just technology or tactics. It was art, science, and warfare combined into something transcendent. "Sir," his communications officer called out, "we're receiving transmissions from the disabled ships. The humans, they're offering medical assistance to our injured. They're helping our crews maintain life support." Kexar's scales shifted to the deep blue of profound realization. The humans could have annihilated them at any moment. This entire battle had been orchestrated not to destroy the Empire, but to make them understand. Admiral Chen's voice returned, now gentler, but no less resolute. "Your empire was built on the belief that power comes from dominance. We're showing you a different kind of power, one built on harmony, cooperation, and the understanding that the universe is vast enough for all of us to grow together." As Kexar watched his mighty fleet rendered helpless, he understood that the Empire wasn't just facing defeat. They were witnessing the birth of a new era, one where their fundamental understanding of power and progress would need to change. The Battle of New Eden would be remembered not as a military engagement, but as the moment when the galaxy's balance of power shifted forever. The humans hadn't just won a battle, they had revealed a new path forward, one that promised evolution instead of extinction. The Alliance. In the aftermath of the Battle of New Eden, something unprecedented began to stir throughout the Xelarian Empire. On thousands of subjugated worlds, ancient quantum transmitters long forgotten by their conquerors crackled to life. The humans had awakened them all, creating a vast network of communication that the Empire couldn't control or silence. On the crystal world of Lizara, Vatel, leader of the resistance movement, watched in amazement as holographic representations of 100 different species filled their hidden command center. Some were faces she recognized from legends: the ethereal meridians, the crystalline quarks, the biomechanical Synthians, all species that had fallen to the Empire's might centuries ago. "For too long, we've existed in isolation," a human representative named Dr. Maya Rodriguez addressed the gathering. "The Empire didn't just conquer our worlds, they tried to erase our connections to each other. Today, that changes." Vatel's luminescent skin pulsed with emotion as she watched species that had been enemies under Empire rule now sharing information, coordinating resistance efforts, and learning from each other. The humans had done more than provide military support. They had given them back their voices. "We've analyzed the human quantum network," Vatel's chief technician reported, his crystalline form shimmering with excitement. "It's not just a communication system. It's a way to share consciousness, to experience each other's perspectives directly. The humans are offering to teach us how to use it." The implications were staggering. The Empire had maintained control by keeping its subjects divided, playing on ancient rivalries and fears. But the humans' technology allowed direct sharing of experiences, making it impossible to maintain the lies and prejudices that had kept them apart. Admiral Chen appeared in the center of the gathering, her hologram now accompanied by a visible manifestation of her AI partner, a shifting matrix of light and information that moved in perfect harmony with her gestures. "The Xelarian Empire believes that unity comes through force," she said. "We're here to show that true strength comes from voluntary cooperation, from celebrating our differences rather than suppressing them." Across the Empire, similar scenes were playing out. Species that had lost hope of freedom were discovering they weren't alone. The humans shared not just their technology, but their philosophy of cooperation between organic and artificial life. Each species began adapting these principles in their own unique ways. The Meridians, masters of light and energy, combined their ancient arts with human quantum computing to create new forms of faster-than-light communication. The Quarks integrated their crystalline consciousness with AI systems, expanding their already formidable computational abilities. The Synthians, who had been twisted by the Empire into living weapons, found ways to heal their corrupted biomechanical systems. But perhaps most remarkably, even some Xelarians began to question their Empire's path. Young scientists and warriors who had seen the Battle of New Eden started reaching out to the growing alliance, sharing critical information about Empire defenses and helping to free more worlds. The Empire believes that change can only come through conquest. Vatel addressed the gathering, her voice strong with newfound hope. But look at us now. Humans didn't conquer us. They freed us. They didn't demand our obedience. They offered us partnership. They showed us that true power comes not from domination, but from cooperation. The alliance grew stronger each day. Human ships appeared wherever they were needed most, not to fight battles, but to protect those who could no longer protect themselves. Their advanced AI systems helped coordinate resistance efforts across thousands of light years, while their quantum networks allowed instant communication and coordination between allied species. As Vatel watched the gathering of species working together, sharing knowledge and resources freely, she understood that they were witnessing more than just a rebellion against the Empire. This was an evolution of galactic society itself, a transformation from an age of conquest to an era of cooperation. The humans hadn't just brought advanced technology or military might. They had brought hope. Hope that different species could work together, that artificial and organic life could coexist in harmony, that the galaxy could be more than an endless cycle of conquest and subjugation. The alliance was more than a military coalition. It was a vision of the future, one where each species could grow and develop while contributing to something greater than themselves. And as news of their success spread, more worlds joined their cause, not out of fear, but out of the desire to be part of this new future. Dawn of a new era. The imperial palace of the Solarian Empire, a massive structure of living metal and crystalline spires that had stood as a symbol of absolute power for millennia, now witnessed something its builders had never imagined possible. In its grand assembly chamber, representatives from hundreds of species gathered, including the Solarian High Council itself, to forge a new future for the galaxy. Emperor Zexcon, the last of a dynasty that had ruled for 3,000 cycles, stood before the assembled gathering. His scales had taken on the rare shade of twilight blue, the color of transformation. Behind him, the quantum displays showed real-time images from across the galaxy, former Empire worlds celebrating their freedom, joint scientific projects between multiple species, and the first graduates of the new Galactic Academy, where all species shared knowledge freely. For millennia, the Emperor began, we believed that progress could only come through dominance. We were wrong. Admiral Chen stood nearby, accompanied by both her AI partner and representatives from the Alliance. The human fleet had never launched its final attack on the Empire's capital. They hadn't needed to. The success of the Alliance, the flourishing of freed worlds, and the obvious benefits of cooperation had accomplished what no weapon could: genuine change. The humans, Zexcon continued, showed us a truth we had forgotten. The galaxy is not a resource to be conquered, but a garden to be cultivated. Each species, each civilization, each form of consciousness, organic or artificial, has its own unique contribution to make. The assembly chamber's quantum field hummed with shared consciousness as representatives linked their minds through the human-provided network. It was no longer just words being exchanged, but direct experiences, emotions, and understanding. The barriers that had kept species apart for millennia dissolved in the face of true communication. Dr. Rodriguez, now the head of the Galactic Sciences Division, activated a holographic display in the center of the chamber. It showed the first project of the new era, a massive Dyson swarm being constructed through the combined efforts of multiple species. The Meridians provided energy manipulation, the Quarks contributed their crystal computing, the Synthians added their biological engineering, and humans provided the quantum eye coordination. Even the Solarians, with their mastery of biomechanical integration, played a crucial role. This is what we can achieve together, Admiral Chen addressed the gathering. Not through conquest or competition, but through cooperation. Each of us brings something unique to this alliance. Together, we can achieve things that none of us could accomplish alone. The quantum network filled with images from across the galaxy, former enemies working side by side, new technologies emerging from the combination of different scientific traditions, and colonies of mixed species building communities together. The humans' gift of quantum consciousness sharing had made it impossible to maintain the old prejudices and fears. But our greatest challenge lies ahead, Chen continued. We've detected signals from beyond our galaxy, other civilizations, other possibilities for cooperation or conflict. The question is, how will we meet them? Emperor Zexgun stepped forward, his scales shifting to a vibrant gold, the color of hope. We will meet them as we are now, not as conquerors or victims, but as equals, not seeking to dominate or submit, but to understand and grow together. The assembly chamber erupted in a chorus of agreement, expressed through 100 different forms of communication. The quantum network blazed with shared emotion and purpose. This was more than just the end of an empire. It was the beginning of something greater. High Archon Selvera, who had first studied the humans in the Grand Archive, activated her own link to the quantum network. The humans didn't defeat us. She shared through the connection. They evolved us. They showed us that true power isn't about control. It's about growth. Not just technological growth, but growth in understanding, in cooperation, in consciousness itself. As the gathering formalized the new Galactic Cooperative, transforming the old empire into something new and unprecedented, Admiral Chen shared a final thought through the quantum network. This was always humanity's greatest strength, she projected. Not our technology, not our AI, but our ability to imagine a better future and work together to create it. Now that strength belongs to all of us. The dawn of the new era wasn't marked by conquest or surrender, but by understanding and transformation. The galaxy had learned humanity's most important lesson, that the greatest adventures, the most remarkable achievements, and the truest forms of progress come not from standing alone in dominance, but from standing together in harmony. As the representatives departed through quantum gates to their respective worlds, they carried with them not just new technology or political agreements, but a new vision of what civilization could be. The age of empires was over. The age of cooperation had begun.